obviously I believe what I say. I'm not Skip Bayless here. I don't say it unless I believe it. But at the same time, I'm not demanding that you agree with me. What I am demanding, if I'm demanding anything at all, is that you think about it.
Yeah.
Just think about it. And that's all I want people to do. I don't remember anybody fighting about it the way they do now.
Yeah, I don't understand it anymore.
I mean, it's just amazing. I couldn't have a conversation with my sister. I haven't talked to my sister in 5 years.
Wow. I don't talk politics with my family for that reason.
Every conversation began with what a crazy liberal I am, and I'm destroying America with my liberal beliefs. And I'm like, I'm just a guy.
For me, I'm more of like the front end of it.
I'm just making it up. Of a similar nature or character.
JMKast. JMKast.
But we get shocked often by Chris.
You Google my name, it always pulls up Ric Flair and Blackjack Mulligan. That's another story for another time, though.
Boop, 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 boop.
And it's another time.
Hey, it's part 2 of the Dale Hansen experience.
That's what I dubbed it. I thought it was too perfect.
Yeah, I don't know why it's an experience.
Because it was an experience to sit down and talk with him for almost 2 hours. And now we're going to share it. And we're going to share the experience with our audience. I'm Rick Mulligan.
I'm Greg T. Johnson.
Did you forget?
No, I was just going to leave it at Greg today.
Oh, okay. I don't want to wait. Let's do.
Oh, you want to get to part 2?
No, we gotta do word of the day first.
Dag nabbit.
Word of the day.
Word of the day.
Word of the day.
Word of the day.
I like it.
All right. Well, that is now officially word of the day.
Intro music for word of the day.
Okay. Let's have a word of the day. How about when you're talking in television land?
Okay.
What is a series?
Oh, series is when you have multiples of something. Is when you tell a TV. It's like when you're watching Netflix and you're watching Sandman. It's the series and it's 10 episodes.
Oh, there's all kinds of different series.
Yeah, there's all
like
kinds of
what about
different
in news? Like, oh, we're gonna do a sweep series.
Yeah, that's like you follow one subject typically for 3 or 4 stories, more than just one story. A series of stories.
Okay. And since apparently these days we're doing 2, I don't know why, and these aren't even related to each other remotely. Phantom power. What is it?
Oh, it's when you plug the microphone into the board and you don't have to put a battery in it. And you switch little, like some of them have, you actually have to flip the switch to phantom power so that it runs off your board and not a battery.
Phantom power.
I've been burned by phantom power before.
Anyway, what are we doing?
Dale, part 2.
Dale,
we got to
part
get rid
2.
of this. I don't want to wait. I don't want to keep the audience waiting. It's Dale Hansen. That's all I have to say. And first episode was all poker. This one is not. It's way more Dale, and I think you guys are going to love it. You're going to enjoy it. And I could talk for 20 minutes setting it up, but you don't want that. So
here's Dale. Well, here we are a year out, Dale, and you took some time off. People have you told me this previously, that other people have tried to get you to maybe try to do a podcast or whatever, and for a while you weren't ready, but now you're ready.
Right.
Now you're ready, and you have one possibly coming up. I want to let you talk about that a little bit and what you want to do specifically for your podcast.
Well, I appreciate that. We're planning on starting it. We're shooting right now for like the middle of September. I just ordered all the equipment. I'm just going to do it out of my house, which was a big part of me doing this. I'm going to set up a little studio, I guess, or whatever you call it, a little mini studio in my house.
By the grill at the pool.
Yeah, do it out by the pool maybe or something. But which really tick off some people. But no, we're going to do it in the house. And I basically want it to be, and this is what I said to you the other day, I really want it to be like my sportscast on steroids. I'm going to talk sports. I'm going to talk a lot of sports. But I'm also going to talk a lot about the social issues that I've talked about in my commentaries on Channel 8. I'm going to talk about politics. I'm going to talk about all of it. But most importantly, and this may well be a losing proposition, I think most of the money, for example, can be made by being Alex Jones. If you want to be really stupid and you want to be Sean Hannity and Tucker Carlson and Alex Jones and you want to just scream into the wilderness, you can garner a pretty good chunk of an audience doing that. I don't know of many liberals who are doing it because they're usually not very good at it. But I'm not, even though I am a liberal and I'm unabashedly proud of being a liberal, I'm going to legitimately try to get people to realize we're all in this mess together.
Yeah, that's true.
And I don't, as I've said on my commentaries, and not everybody believes me when I say this, but I'm telling you it's true. Obviously, I believe what I say. I'm not Skip Bayless here. I don't say it unless I believe it. But at the same time, I'm not demanding that you agree with me. What I am demanding, if I'm demanding anything at all, is that you think about it.
Yeah. Just
think about it. And that's all I want people to do. So what I'm going to try to do with this podcast, and one of the shows that I've got lined up, and I don't know if this is going to work or not, but it's fascinating to me. I'm going to have a segment with an old high school buddy of mine from 50 plus years ago. And we were at a high school reunion a couple of years ago, and he came up to me, very conservative guy, right-wing Republican, all that good stuff. And he says to me, how is it possible that two guys who grew up in this little town in Iowa of about 1,000 people, we had the same lifestyle, we had the same teachers, we had the same coaches, we played games together, we vacationed together. How is it possible that we grew up and we're 180 degrees politically apart? And I'm fascinated by that because I don't know the answer yet. I don't know. Maybe I don't know if there is an answer. But it wasn't like he was the rich kid in town or I'm the poor kid or vice versa. We were all the same. We were all the same, being taught the same things by the same family circle and the same friends and same teachers and coaches and everything. And I want to do a conversation about why can't we just simply get along anymore? I don't want to sound like Rodney King here, but why can't we all just get along, even though we disagree?
That's a fair question.
Like we used to.
Yeah.
Like we used to.
I've said that conversation with friends of mine numerous times.
I have two men that I consider my very best friends. One of them is a black man from New York City, a graduate of Harvard, lawyer, now a judge. And he is left of left of left. And my 1A best friend, and there's no particular order to this, is a high school graduate, a roofer, pawn shop owner, and he thinks Tucker Carlson is a god. And his perfect candidates would be Donald Trump and Tucker Carlson. That would be his perfect president, vice president.
Okay.
And we are the best of friends. And he and I disagree about damn near everything. But we both know that both of us have a pretty good heart. Our heart's in the right place. We just think about some of these things differently. But at the end of the day, what difference does it make? And the best example of this is he absolutely used to just rail about gays in America. He just couldn't understand why they choose to be gay. And I said, Bruce, nobody chooses this. Why would they choose this? And I wrote a commentary about basically just that. And a couple months later, we're at this little dinner party, and there's this gay man sitting there. And I look over at Bruce. I'm like, what the hell? He goes, you changed my mind. You changed my mind. And because like I said, Bruce, what difference does it make? Of all the things going on in the world today, your biggest concern is two guys going home together because they love one another. That's your biggest concern. He goes, well, I don't want two guys mugging down in the corner of the bar. I said, hell, I don't want two guys mugging down in the corner of the bar because I don't want a guy and a gal mugging down in the corner of the bar.
Yeah, I don't want to see that. I want to
get a room for God's sakes. Get a room. I don't want public displays of obnoxious. I said, number one, I've never seen that, but of course I'm with you. I said, Bruce, at the end of the day, what difference does it make? And I've moved him. I moved him, not a lot, but a little bit. And that's what I'm hoping, because I think I said this to you yesterday. People get on Twitter or Facebook or in a mob.
Yeah.
Look at how they react to when you're sitting across the table from them.
Yeah.
And I've had hundreds of death threats. And some of the people who were making death threats against me, I would meet them and I would run into them at a social setting. They're like they're my best friends. Because what people are willing to say and how people are willing to act when they're in a mob or when they're having the anonymity of Twitter or Facebook even is completely different than how they're willing to act and behave face to face. And the bottom line is
100%.
we're all in this together. So shut up.
Yeah.
Let's tone it down a little bit. I want to say, I swear to you, let's lower the temperature. But Trump said that the other day, so I can't. I got to check.
Just maybe say turn the air on. Let's turn the air on.
We need to lower the temperature because, during the 60s, at the height of the race riots and the Vietnam War, this country was being ripped apart. But even then, I don't think it was as bad as it is now. I honestly don't remember. Maybe I've blacked this out of my memory banks. But I would play golf with people who thought that the race riots were ridiculous, who thought that the civil rights marches of Dr. King were ridiculous, who thought the Vietnam War was one of the greatest campaigns in American military history. And then we go play golf. And then we go play cards. And then we'd have a beer afterwards. And then you go cast your vote and I'll go cast my vote and we call it a day. I don't remember anybody fighting about it the way they do now.
Yeah, I don't understand it anymore.
It's just amazing. I couldn't have a conversation with my sister. I haven't talked to my sister in 5 years.
Wow. I don't talk politics in my family for that reason.
Every conversation began with what a crazy liberal I am and I'm destroying America with my liberal beliefs. And I'm like, I'm just a guy.
I have two best friends.
I'm just a guy doing sports. Gee whiz.
I have two best friends that do not talk to each other anymore over because of their political beliefs, and I get stuck in the middle quite regularly. And one of the people was very out of line, and I got very upset with him. And I told him, I go, I can't be friends with you if you're going to continue to talk to people and call him names like that. And he's like, well, you're defending him. I go, no, I don't care. Politically, I don't care. But the words you used toward him are unacceptable. And I'm like, right, I don't want to be friends with people who think it's okay to call someone that. And he got really upset. It took him about a month, and he called me crying one day, just crying and apologized.
That's my only standard. I was in a card game. I was in a card game several years ago, and up at Thorntree in DeSoto, and a guy drops the N-word on a bad beat. And before this was the great thing, because I'm pretty sure that wasn't a room full of liberals. But before I could even say anything, about three other guys said, "Hey, you never." And I just jumped in, and he looks at me, and he's a good guy. I played golf with him forever. Played cards with him forever. And he looked at me and said, "Oh, Dale, I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean that. I'm sorry. I said, no. I said, but never again.
Yeah.
Never again. I said, you can believe anything you want. You just can't call other people the names like that. And I've lost a couple of. I've lost a couple of friends who, for whatever reason, they can't rein that in.
Yeah,
they can't.
Yeah.
They can't sound as well in that case. If you're going to refer to Judge Moyer with those terms, then I'm out. I'm out. I can't share a drink with you. I can't play cards with you anymore. But at the same time, those same guys I'm talking about, I played cards with them, knowing how they felt to some extent for 20 years. And this is what frustrates me. It started when Mr. Obama was elected president, but it certainly went off the rails when Trump became president.
Yeah.
I don't care about his conservative politics, supposed conservative politics, but it's got nothing to do with conservative policies.
No.
I thought Ronald Reagan did a lot of very good things in the 80s, considering the pile of manure that we had coming out of the 70s. I didn't necessarily agree with a lot of things that Reagan supposedly believed in. But, yeah, okay, I can handle this. George Bush, Bill Clinton, all of them. But the last 4 years is just, it's been almost 6 years now, but it's been so divisive. And I don't know if, as you said, Greg, I don't know if we can get this genie back in the bottle. I honestly don't know. But I know I have to try.
Right.
I know I have to try.
And that's why you do your commentaries and things, because you, if nothing else, Dale, you want people to think. But as you were telling me again yesterday, you want to do it by almost like a death by 1,000 paper cuts type of. Each argument until you just kind of talk some sense into them.
I don't want to stab anybody with a Jim Bowie knife, but I do enjoy cutting people up with a little stiletto. I'm not cutting them up. I'm trying to cut their arguments up.
Right.
I'm trying to,
of course.
Yes. Me and Rick, we talk about some of your stories, your poker stories, Dale, because
I talk about all
we
kinds of
are amazed on the recall.
Yeah.
Of the hand, like who did what at what position, and the recall of hands years ago that you have is just incredible.
It's a curse, quite honestly, is what it is.
Do you at least remember the good ones too?
I've been involved a dozen times, dozens of times, I should say, where somebody will start arguing about a hand. And I'll find, and I do. I just have to. I go, no. I said, it was the ace of hearts on the turn, and then he made a $300 bet, and you called, and then the seven of diamonds. It wasn't the seven of hearts; it was the seven of diamonds that came on the river. And guys will start arguing back and forth. And a buddy of mine, Tom Galvin, one time leaned forward. He said, "Listen, does anybody really want to question Hansen on what the cards were?" and I'm telling you, I don't know why that is. I just know. I'm not all. I mean, I'll be sitting up at the poker house sometimes, and I'll start rehashing a hand, and a guy will sit there and go, "What?" I said, "Well, I'm still just trying to figure out what happened there." And a guy will sit there and say, "Hell, I don't remember what happened last hand." Exactly. And then one of the guys, almost invariably, the dealer or one of the guys say, "Well, hell, Hansen can tell you about what happened 3 weeks ago."
Exactly.
Yeah,
and I can.
It's amazing. Your hand recall.
But
I've had these conversations at a table. Well, somebody will just call that. No, I'm not buying that for a moment. And I'll look over at the dealer and I swear to you, I'll go, "You have a camera in here, right?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Okay, buddy, how much do you want to bet that you had the ace of hearts, the king of diamonds, and the 10 of spades, playing Omaha, for example?" I said, how much you want to bet? Because he's got a camera. I'll go get the owner to pull the camera up, but you put the money up first. Make it worth my while. Right? and then almost everybody who knows me will sit there and go, "You really don't want that bet."
No.
I mean, you really
and you're like, "Hey, shut up."
Bet.
Yes, I do. I want to stop telling them no.
The first one, you were talking about bad beats all the time, and I heard it, and you and I have talked about bad beats forever. But the worst one I ever had, I just looked it up before we started this podcast. I just want to get the dates right. And it was 2020 at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas. And I remember the cards to this day. To this day, I remember the exact cards and how I lost the bad beat. And I'm like, God, I wish I could get that out of my brain. But at the same time, it is the worst bad beat I've ever had. And I think there's something to be said for remembering that. I don't remember my kids' birthdays. I'm not exactly sure what year Chris and I got married. But I can tell you what cards fell 22 years ago or something. Yeah. I mean, it's true. I can. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
So you were telling me a hand, actually just yesterday, that some guy, it was like 3 or 4 raises, and Do you want to tell that one?
Well, yeah, I mean, and then I pushed with the aces.
Yes.
Well, there's two. You talking about the most recent one?
Yes.
Yeah, there were three raises in front of me, and I'm in the big blind. I'm in the first position to act. So I started it for just the standard
1-2.
raise.
1-2.
We're just playing 1-2, and in this game it's always like 1-2-15.
Yeah,
for some
you
reason.
get the hot card out. Yeah.
I've never quite figured out how this happens,
Either
but
way.
it's usually 1-2-15. Sometimes 1-2-30. Whatever. But anyway, I made it 15. Some guy pops it up to 30. Another guy made it 70. And then it comes around to the guy on the button, and he makes it 180.
And you're staring at what in your hand?
Pocket aces.
And how much do you have in your stack?
Oh, I've got $1,000 or something in my stack.
I rip it right there.
And it was a pretty good day.
We all do the same thing, Dale.
I rip it right there.
Rick said the exact same thing I did.
I'm going to take all the dead money, and then hopefully one of them
actually,
calls.
I tell you what, I know I actually had 780 in my stack. Another reason I know it is because that's how much it cost that guy. the guy had like 780 in his stack. Or I mean, he had over 1,000 in his stack. And I bought in for 500 in this 1-2 game, and I was up a couple $100, and so I had like 800 tops, and but anyway, so I pushed all in, and I tried to do the acting a little bit. I'm not big on that. I like to play fast, which I think also helps me is that I don't have to act like I'm faking or acting rather because I play fast all the time.
Yeah, same way.
So I try to be somewhat consistent about that. But anyway, it comes around, and I kind of did a little bit of the acting, like what the heck is going on here? I mean,
that's fair.
That might not be acting. That's like, could someone else have aces?
And I said there, and I looked. I said, well, no, fine. All right, okay, I'm all in. Well, everybody falls, and that guy snap call. And like you and I were talking about yesterday. Well, what do you think I have?
One hand.
I mean, and what could I possibly have?
He only has one of two hands. Yeah, there's the other two aces or kings. That's the only thing I'm putting him on.
I'm not even sure, quite honestly, that I would have done it with kings.
I'm not saying I would have slammed king. I'm saying what he has as kings. I'm not saying your hand. Plays face up.
He snap called.
Yeah,
and I actually thought, well, for a moment, maybe we're chopping, which has happened to me before. But he did. He turned over kings.
Yeah.
And as I said, we were all talking about it at the table later. I said, I don't think I'm good enough to lay down pocket kings. I don't know that I could have laid down pocket kings. This buddy of mine I met in Finland, we were on a cruise years ago, and he's become just this great friend of mine. And he laid down the same exact circumstance. He laid down pocket kings against me in a game. And again, it was almost identical circumstances. And that's how he and I became such great friends. He turns over the kings and shows them to me, and I'm like, how the hell can you do that?
I've done it one time.
And I had already shown that I was playing pretty wild because it was a small stakes game, and I'm calling everything, and I'm bluffing and just having a great time. And this guy's really good. Tobias is really good, and he lays down pocket kings. But this guy didn't, and he snap called. That was the other thing that was kind of strange about it. But he didn't really say anything, and I won. He was obviously pretty frustrated and pretty angry, and he left shortly after that. But yeah, I mean, I'm like, if I'm making like the fourth raise into a table that people aren't too concerned to, what do you think I possibly have?
Exactly.
But I am also serious when I tell you, I don't know if I could have laid down kings either.
Pre-flop kind of hard.
I've done it one time.
But then seriously, I mean, what's he got? He's either, and again, depending on the player, and this is the other thing, despite my attitude or despite my happy-go-lucky style, if you will, I think I'm a pretty tight player. I'm loose in the sense that I will call for open-end straight draws and flush draws, and I make a lot of bad calls on stuff like that. But I don't. I really don't think and that's why I think my bad beat stories are so much higher than
Right.
And a friend of mine said this to me one time, and I think he's right about this. I don't have a lot of great stories about how I sucked out on somebody because I'm usually not there. If I know I'm behind going to the river with no real good odds to get there, I'm usually not there. Now the turn, I'll pay a lot of money. You know, I mean,
Right.
For whatever reason, I've paid way too much money on the turn on more than one occasion.
Yeah, that's my biggest leak.
Can you recall approximately how much on the turn?
How much the bet was, or
No, how much on the turn you probably spent?
in your career.
I'm just saying, just how far back can you
I'll
go?
put it to you this way: if I could have all the bad money back that I paid on the turn, you wouldn't be doing. You probably wouldn't be doing a podcast right now, Greg.
Oh,
You wouldn't have to be worrying about trying to scrape up a few bucks doing a podcast.
oh, nice to know. Nice to know. It's the music.
Yeah, that gets us out of our second half of our conversation with Dale Hansen, which
Wasn't that fun to hear Dale?
Can we keep going?
Can we just let him keep talking?
I wanted to keep talking.
Oh, but we're gonna have a part 3.
Yeah, and then that part 3, he's gonna have a big, pretty much big announcement. I would say
Well, he kind of
teased it.
He teased it in part 1, but
now you're gonna hear way more about his announcement in part 3, and mainly why he's doing what he's doing, which I think is gonna be.
He took a year off.
Yeah.
So
And if you're a fan and you liked what he had to say, get ready to hear a whole lot more of him soon.
Well, I don't know about a whole lot more, but he's got more to say.
Well, think about it like this. When you used to watch Dale, you only got him for anywhere between 12 to 15 minutes a time total between the 6 and the 11.
That's true.
He's going to have a whole lot more time to
30
talk.
Full minutes.
Maybe more. He might go longer.
The unplugs, it's 30 minutes of unplug.
Yeah.
But maybe.
Yeah. We'll see.
I think we're saying too much.
I know. I want to just let the audience.
Anyway.
So
we're saying way too much.
That's our bye-bye music.
Yeah.
So, like, share, subscribe.
Too much. The cat's out of the bag and we got to get out of here.
Like, share, subscribe,
comment.
Tell us who you want as a guest on the JMKast. See you. We're out.